What are you doing right now to make your future a better place? What inspires you to talk about it? Those were the first questions I was asked right before I started to think of what my talk was going to be on. So here's my inspiration. My great-grandmother was an amazing woman. She was born in Italy in 1914 in the time of World War I. Since she was a little girl, she was around a lot of conflict in the world. She would see how women were not really expected to do things on their own or be in business. Boy, my great-grandmother did not listen to them. When she became older, she and her mom were managers of a hotel. One day, when Nazis invaded her part of Italy, which is northern Italy, in Lombardy, they took over my great-grandmother's hotel. They practically forced her to let them come in. She let them come in, but sometimes when she could, she would go out into the mountains and give the American soldiers food, water, and any necessary things for survival. She is my inspiration because it shows an ordinary woman can do extraordinary things. She was an amazing, hard-working woman who cared deeply about her family and empowering others. Today, the world is changing for the better, with technology, medical advancements, and many other things. So today, there are a number of problems with women's rights and the way we're thinking of them, right? Well, what about women inside of our own country? Did you know that some people don't even think women should have certain freedoms, like becoming a business owner? A study at Harvard University website showed that just 46% of women versus 52% of men receive P&L responsibility, which means profit and loss. And let's just say it's a very important role to a business. Another states that just 325,000 women had entry-level positions, 150,000 had made it to middle management, and 7,000 had made it to vice president, senior vice president, or CEO. Women are so limited in some of their countries, they can't even drive. They can't even step foot out of their house without a man. They're only known as the shame of the family. Why? Why is this even in existence? Why is it so strange or weird when a girl maybe wants to start something new or be more of a leader and not just a follower? My EL design principle is diversity and inclusion, which means to me that everyone on this earth is diverse in their own amazing way. But the only way you can function in life is by including everyone to an equal opportunity. My name is Chiara Compiani, and I would like to change the perspective of people to make a better future for women. Because if we don't change our thinking, we are going to have an awful future. If the women of today are treated with disrespect and unfairity, how will we be able to progress as a society? So with all the things I have just said, how can we fix this? How can we further educate our people and our women so that we can have the most successful future? What kind of leaders and educators will we need to change this? How can we all contribute to this? Phase 1. This phase I use basically on a day-to-day basis when I see women in general being discussed or not being mentioned when I think they should be. Ever heard the phrase man up? Well, that's supposed to mean in order to be strong, I have to be a man. Well, my great-grandmother and many other incredible women in this world are not men, but I think that they're pretty strong. So I think I'm going to women up. Before going on to my next phase, I want to identify this in the real world. How many of you watch television or read? Okay, so have you ever heard this phrase before? It's pretty amazing how many times we've all heard this and never even noticed that it was there. Phase 2. We can start by changing our programs that our children and even siblings watch. All it takes is one click and we've saved them for at least a while. The longer they go without this crazy idea in their heads, the better. Phase 3. Make sure in our social studies classes we mention how women made a major impact and not just men. For example, there are many details in major world wars that we tend to leave out about women. Now, as you're doing these phases on a day-to-day basis, if someone happens to ask you, why should I care? Here's what I would say. Your life and future is kind of like a building. You have to start with a strong foundation that will more than likely consist of diverse individuals, each capable of amazing talents. Now, the components you choose to put in that building is up to you. Some people, or in this case buildings, may be unfair to those people, but you can choose to not be a follower of this and be equal to everyone, no matter what the gender. Thank you.